G'day there, Ottawa Valley Vipers. As many of you might have realized if you've watched either one of my weird English words videos, and I mentioned in one of them, I'm sometimes a bit of a medical nerd. When I was growing up, see, my father was, at one point before I was born, an EMT, and his father was a paramedic, so I grew up with a lot of medical encyclopedias and dictionaries and whatnot laying around, and I often got into reading them quite frequently enough. I wouldn't say every day or anything, but I've read through quite a lot of them, so I have a fair little information of medical stuff in my mind, and I'm not saying I know everything, but I wanted to start up a new little series called Medical Mondays, since I'm a bit of a medical nerd. And today's episode, I figured I would go with one called glue ear. You heard me right, glue ear, as in the glue that Ralph Wiggum used to eat back in elementary school, and ear, as in the one on the side of your head. And I decided to go with this one because it's something I've actually dealt with myself, or at least it pretty much lines up with everything, all the symptoms I had. Um, but I don't remember what the doctor said. I probably didn't hear him. I don't know. So, glue ear is actually a medical condition. It can happen in adults, but it's often caught in childhood as well, most of the time. And pretty much what this is that in the inner ear, there's a lot of thicker liquids that'll build up, and generally, um, it'll end up getting drained through what's called the eustachian tubes. I'm hoping that shows up the right way in the video, but I'll put it down in the description for the just in case. And to understand this better, I drew a bit of a diagram. I'm not an artist. This is complete garbage. Excuse my friggin'. But here you've got your outer ear here, and then you've got your ear canal that comes in, you know. And you've got your eardrum, and then your malleus, which is like the hammer sort of thing, and then you've got uh, jeez, the indicus, which is the other thing that hits up against, the optical nerves in the mouth, at the other part there. But then right between, let's get up here, right between your eardrum and the next part is where your your eustachian tubes are, and that's generally what drains that thicker liquid. But since that sometimes gets blocked, it it's kind of like air going in there. It's what helps it drain better, and it's kind of like, for an example, today's ketchup compared to the older ketchup back when it was in the glass bottles and you had to tap it and it didn't quite drain right because it didn't have air going through it the same way. You kind of understand what I'm saying? It's generally that type of a thing. You know what I mean? But sorry, dropped something on the floor here. But typically it doesn't quite drain it probably because of this. It could often be caused by, well, sometimes it's caused by infection. Um, Sometimes it's caused by something else. But in my case, it's often caused by just structural issues. You know what I'm saying? Things weren't structurally the way it should be, and that's what happened with me. And sometimes it'll go away on its own and it won't be treated by the doctor. It'll usually wait 3 to 6 months or something like that. And if it's still a problem, then they'll often deal with it. But a common thing they'll often do is put in a set of tubes, and I've had this done 3 times. Because mine was pretty bad. But common symptoms often include like difficulty hearing. A lot of people will say it's almost like hearing underwater, or as if you had a lot of cotton stuffed in your ears or your hands stuffed over your head like this, or very muffled hearing, very quiet or dimmed hearing. it varies from person to person. Mine was bad enough. Um, they'll often have pressure on the ear or ears affected. I was affected on both sides, but sometimes it can be just one ear. They'll often have like a popping noise sometimes, or a bit of a cracking. Some have said I've never had that. Um, tinnitus has been recorded. I've had tinnitus the odd time. I'm not sure if it's connected because tinnitus could be other things too, and sometimes it's just normal, right? They often have other issues such as hearing, or focusing, or sometimes balance. My balance was usually okay, but at times it depended. But most of the time it was okay. But it's often misdiagnosed as other issues, and often misdiagnosed even as a learning disability, which I sometimes was, and I'm smart enough, but unfortunately, being a child trying to explain this to adults doesn't always work out the way you would hope it would, because parents are the parents and adults are the adults, right? It is what it is. But they often just often feel like a lot of sleepiness, lack of focus, frustration, irritability. I mean, just because, and this is I think this could be a few things just from the sleepiness, and also just the constant frustrations through communications, because most people don't deal with that sort of a hearing issue, so they don't quite realize how hard it is to communicate back and forth. Um, I personally, after a few serious enough incidences, realized I have to start working on communicating better. And that's when I started kind of trying to learn pick up, learn to read lips. I know a bit of sign language, so that's why I've been doing the sign language videos. And it's helped me out so far, but I mean, there's different ways to go about that. And my hearing has improved. I still have a bit of difficulty, but it's improved a lot. You know what I mean? But it has happened in adults. I've known one or two adults who has also had the same surgeries I've had. Or so if you or your child has that surgery, my biggest advice, and I'm not joking, you really want to listen to the surgeon or doctor when they say, for a good while, at least after your surgery, you want to avoid dunking your head completely underwater. Like, you don't want to be jumping into the pool, jumping off a bridge into the water, or jumping and, swimming and getting your head completely wet, because that's going to cause you quite a bit of discomfort and pain. So I really suggest against that. But I mean, like, after a while, you can go back to doing stuff like that, but I can't remember how long it took. I was a kid, all of my surgeries, but a few weeks tops, sort of thing, maybe a month or two. I don't remember exactly how long, but it's not very long. Like, you can still wash your hair, get your head under the water like that, but like, don't have water like compressed right up against your head is what I'm getting at. Like, it shouldn't be surrounding your head heavy duty, because then that's when it goes in, that's what causes you a problem. I hope this has been an interesting episode for you guys. I'm gonna probably cut her off there. If you want a bit more detail, let me know. But I try to keep my videos not too long. So I'm probably gonna continue doing a few more of these if you guys are interested, where I can go into disorders, diseases, and organs and body parts and how things work together. So if you guys have anything you guys would like to see in a future episode, let me know. And I hope to see you soon. My next episodes will probably be more towards sign language or the banjo. I'm not sure which one I'll do next, but stick around and I hope you're all doing well. Take care, guys.